Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel for another video. My name is Diana and I create cross-stitch patterns under the name Diana Bloom Designs in the Canadian prairies. And on this channel I talk about my patterns that I'm releasing as well as any of the stitching that I'm getting up to and general crafting that I get up to. I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas if you celebrate, or holiday season if you celebrate something else. We celebrate Christmas at my house and we had an absolutely beautiful, dreamy year. So much about it was perfect. We had beautiful family days leading up to Christmas itself where we got to have fun, and we went and met Santa at a coffee shop and just lots of fun and relaxing times. And then the actual days, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, we have a dinner on both. We really celebrate both like Christmas Day. They're both the whole true thing. And both of those days were perfect for us. They were so lovely. We got to see family, and my kids are old enough now that they're running and playing and enjoying, and it was perfect. My daughter opened 2 presents on Christmas morning and she already was saying, "This is the best Christmas ever," and wasn't asking, is there any more, or what are we doing next, or what else is there? And I just loved that. It felt very wholesome and happy, and between all of their extended family plus us plus everything, they were well and truly spoiled, but that wasn't their takeaway, and I thought that was great. Anyways, I won't continue to natter on. I hope you had a great holiday season, and I hope you had a very happy new year. I'm very excited. I like starts to things, so the new year is a big deal for me. It feels like a clean slate and I'm very excited. 2025 is also kind of a round number year. I just turned 35 in December, so that feels like a very round number year. So I'm very excited. I think it's going to be a good one. So in today's video, I have a couple things that I want to talk about, and then I want to show you the whips that I have and some knitting that I've been working on. The first thing I want to say is that I released a pattern in December called Snowfall Chickie, and I was very excited to get to release my first freebie, my first free Christmas pattern, especially with it being my first Christmas as a cross-stitch designer. It all felt very exciting for me, but of course you don't know how many people are going to end up seeing the pattern that you release. It's kind of a hope that many people will get to take advantage of the fact that it's free and many people will get to enjoy it and stitch it and have it. Overwhelmingly more people found it than I was expecting, and I am so happy to see that people were enjoying it. That's such a good feeling. And to know that so many people got something free for themselves at a time of year where we tend to reach as far as we can for others. It's a really good feeling to know that many people got to take a moment, and I mean, it's a free digital download, so it's not too big of a thing, but I'm happy that everybody who found it got to have something for themselves in that moment leading up to Christmas. So thank you for enjoying it. And thank you truly so much to everybody who left me a comment on Instagram, YouTube, or those who decided to hang out on Patreon and leave comments over there. Some of the people even joined the free membership so that they can get updates when I do my little design behind the scenes updates. Every little thing was such a joy for me to get to see that people were enjoying the pattern and that they were glad to have it. Some people shared really touching stories of why chickadees are special to them, and that really meant a lot. Honestly, it was just such a good experience, and I'm so glad that so many people found the chickadee and were happy to have it. And I just want to say thank you again to all of anybody who left a comment. They really meant so much to me. So following that chickadee, today I am excited to release the third winter bird in that series. So if this is your first video, the first bird that I released in the series was a junco bird in a pattern called First Frost. And then I had a chickadee pattern called Snowfall Chickie. And that is is and will remain a free pattern, so I can link to that below in case you want to download that for yourself. And then today I'm releasing the third pattern, which is called Snow Bunting. So this pattern is now available in my Etsy shop, and following the other format, or following the format with the other two, it's the same stitch count. So it'll be the same size when it's stitched as the first two. And it's designed for the same color of linen and for roughly the same flosses. So I will show you those now. So I am designing all three patterns to work well with Roxy Flossco Panettone linen, which is really beautiful. It's a neutral color, but it uses reds and greens together to create that neutral, and you kind of can see those red and green colors blending and mixing in the linen, even though overall it reads as a neutral. Very beautiful. And I'll show you the colors. So this one, it does use the same floss colors as the first two, but it actually uses just a couple fewer colors. So there's no green in this one. It focuses more on the whites and grays and the one pink. So it reads a little bit lighter and brighter. It reminds me kind of at the end of winter, everything's very icy. The snow sort of packs down and it becomes this very almost shiny, very white landscape, I guess. And very often, especially in January and February where I am, I think it's when the weather warms up and then gets cold again, we get a lot of frost building on the branches. And that's something I really wanted to highlight with this one. So when I found out that there was a bird called a snow bunting, I knew that I really wanted to make a pattern out of it, especially being that the bird itself is so cute. But also just the image that you get when you hear the word snow bunting, it sounds like a little birthday banner made out of snow. And I get this very whimsical woodland image in my mind when I hear that. So I wanted to create a pattern using the bird and then creating that image of snow bunting in a way that looks like it almost could happen in nature with different kinds of hoarfrost or snow collecting on a branch. So you can see that underneath the bird on the branch that it's standing on, there's those little triangles that are meant to look like snow building on the branch, but they have little lacy elements in them that try to make it look like they're like a little whimsical decoration that maybe animals could set up for a birthday or something. And then you can see behind the bird, there's some little snowflakes that are reminiscent of the snowflakes that we see in the first frost pattern, which will help to tie the two patterns together in case you do want to feature all three on the wall. There's sort of a connecting element there. And then in Snowfall Chickie, it's of course one big snowflake, which I think is nice for contrast so that it's not the same element in all three, but you still see some consistency there. And then, of course, the snow bunting has those pretty branches with berries that I think help tie it together and warm up the very light, bright white kind of look that it has. So yes, I hope you all really enjoy the pattern. I'm very excited about it. My 4-year-old says that of the three, it's the most prettiest, and so it is her favorite, and she likes the use of pink. So for what that's worth, I hope you all really like it. I'm very excited to stitch this one and to show you updates as I get stitching on it. Speaking of stitching, I guess we can move into whips. So I have been working on my first frost stitch. Still on first frost. That's okay. I'll get through all of them. So I'm stitching this on 40 count Panettone linen from Roxy Floss Co. with all of the called for Roxy Floss colors that I've included in this pattern. Show you my stitch. I do have a thread in it, but it's barely tacked down, so I really don't want to move it. I was very hopeful that I was going to stitch maybe 3 snowflakes today. And I almost got 1 stitch. So there you go. So on this one, I've been working a lot on the branch, and I got a lot of the different darks and light greens in there, which I love. And then I got some of the snow on the branch. And I love how much that pops off the linen, and it truly looks like snow. Yeah, I love how light and bright that is. It looks like little pearls on the linen. It's so pretty. And then I got a couple more of the snowflakes done. Just a couple. Surely no snowflakes were stitched today, but that is okay. It was a very good play day. Today is actually Boxing Day for me. I'm filming this a little bit early. So yes, I'm saying that I'm excited that it is the new year, but mostly I'm excited for the new year currently. But yes, today was Boxing Day and my girls were very excited. We did a lot of setting up of toys and playing with different play sets and a lot of figuring out which needs what batteries, and it was a very good day. It was a very kind of relaxing family day, which was good. Okay, for my next work in progress, I actually have a new stitch to show you. This was my birthday start for this year. So my birthday is in mid-December, every year. And I wanted to start something special this year. I really wanted to kit something up. I turned 35 this year, so I wanted something different. Time just goes the way that it goes, and I didn't have a chance to kit up anything or even find something that I really wanted to highlight for my birthday. So I ended up actually in almost an emergency situation realizing, hey, I have a model stitch that I would love to get done for February, and it's a pattern that I'm really, really excited about. So I thought, nope, that's going to be my birthday stitch. And so because of that, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek on that stitching, even though that chart is not coming out for a little while yet. So I am stitching this on Roxy Floss Co. 1/2 on Roxy Floss Co. Dirty Porcelain Linen with all Roxy Floss Co. colors that will be called for when this pattern comes out. So it's a much more minimal palette than I've done for my past few charts. Yeah, it's got about 7 colors, and it's also a smaller chart in general. So I can't think of what the stitch count is in this moment, but I know that if I stitch it on 40 count linen, it's about 4 by 6 inches. So a little bit smaller than the Winterbird series. I think it's mostly shorter. So I'm very excited. It's going quickly so far, and I'm really having fun with it. I'll show you the stitching that I have so far, and I'll tell you that it is called Chamomile Cottage. And I think it's going to be really, really pretty for spring. So that's the stitching that I have so far. You can see there's one flower, some little sprigs, a little bit of a border at the top, and the start of a star going in. And I will also tell you that in this chart is going to be the first house that I've ever designed for cross stitch, which I am very excited about, especially with houses being so iconic. I was very excited to get in there and do my own take on one. And I'm really excited for you to see it. I hope you will like it. That is all of the stitching that I've done this month. It has been so busy with Christmas and everything. I feel like I haven't even had time really to sit down. So haven't had that much progress, but that is okay. I think January will be that. Okay, and next I want to show you a little bit of haul that I have. I was waiting on an Evertote order because of the Canada Post strike, and recently it was delivered. I was waiting on the flosses that I need to stitch the model for the pattern I came out with in December called Swan Lace. And so for this pattern, I needed almost every color. I didn't have any of them in my stash, so I had to wait to do the most of the stitch. And I am just so happy. This was my first time seeing them in person when they finally arrived. And I'm so happy with the colors. So this has quite a limited palette, just a few colors to make up this pattern. And it's stitched on I'm using a 40 count catnap linen from Roxy Floss Co. I think the catnap linen gives the perfect kind of moody tone for this piece. And then I like seeing the whites and light colors pop off of that mid-tone gray. And so when I was designing this chart, I actually, because I had to swatch so many different whites and light blues, I even swatched light greens and purples, different colors to try to create the dimension and detail that I wanted in the swan, while still having it overall look like a white bird. So I ended up trying a bunch of different DMCs. And then I reached out to Hannah, who is the floss boss over at Evertote, and asked if she could please do a conversion for me so that I could order it and try the colors and make sure that it was the right fit. She did, and one of the blues was almost perfect, except for that I had wished that it would be just a little bit lighter. So I asked her if she has anything that would be very similar to that blue, but just one shade lighter. And they didn't have anything exactly like that in their collection. But Hannah ended up speaking to Caroline, who's the owner over at Evertote, and to Carrie, who is the owner and dyer of Roxy Floss Co. And they decided that they would dye up a new color for their collection so that I would have it for this pattern, and obviously so that they have it for their collection. But to me, it was such an honor that they were willing to work with me in this way and to create a color that I could use in this chart. And I think it is absolutely beautiful. So just to show you that one, it's called In Due Time, and it is absolutely perfect for this chart. I can't wait to stitch it. Hopefully that was in focus. I think sometimes having the linen behind helps a lot. But it's just beautiful, and I'm so happy to finally get to see that color in person after a little bit of the back and forth of us working on what that color would look like. So it's just so exciting, and I can't wait to get that stitch progressing now, to get to work on the swans especially. Other than that, I've mostly been working on socks. I sort of wanted something where I wouldn't have to count in the evenings when I was too tired to stitch, but I wanted a little bit of extra crafting time. And I ended up casting on a sock. My sister-in-law got me this beautiful sock yarn for my birthday. I don't have the ball band anymore. My kids think ball bands are just awesome, so they take them. But this was a Regia colorway from Arnie and Carlos. And that's what the colors look like. And it's been great. I've never used Regia sock yarn before, and it has been so wonderful. It is a little bit woolly, but not overly woolly. And just lovely. I don't know, it knits up really smooth and beautiful. I like that it has a little bit of nylon to give it that strength. I think it's going to be wonderful. And here is how it's stitching up. So this is one of those yarns that it's not just self-striping, it's self-patterning. You can see how that pattern's coming together. It almost looks like you're knitting kind of a Fair Isle sock, like having to stitch with 2 colors at a time. And I'm not having to do a single thing. I also knit the toe in a white, and I did a slip stitch short row toe, which I've never done before, but I thought it would look really pretty with the slipped stitches. And I liked that there wouldn't be any weak points at the end of the toe because you start up here and go around. So I thought that would be interesting to try, and I really like it. I think I will be doing that again. I just realized how long I've been holding that up. But yeah, so I'm done the foot of that sock. I'm going to be doing an afterthought heel. So I get to just keep knitting around and around and around, which is really all I want to do right now if I'm going to be knitting. I think because I'm stitching so much and I'm doing a lot of counting, I don't really want to be following a complex knitting pattern today. Usually I love that. Usually I want something a little more complicated, but right now I just want to knit around in circles. And because of that, I ended up getting a lot of sock yarn for Christmas. So we can get Patton's Croy sock yarn here at our Michaels. And so that was what I ended up asking for. And I got 3 different colors. So I've got this one, which is called Blue Raspberry. Oh yeah, this one. It's just a marled blue. So these will knit up kind of the same way that the Regia one is, where these are going to be much more heavily striped, and then there will be a little bit of that kind of patterning look to it. Whereas this will just be almost a solid sock with a little bit of marling. So you'll get little flecks of white in it here and there. And then I am in love with this one. This is called Woodsy. And that's going to be the same, where you get that kind of heavy striping and then little flecks of color to create what looks like patterning. And I'm just so excited for that. I get to knit around in circles for many socks to come. I think that's going to be very relaxing, and I can't wait to see the different colorways knit up and see the finished socks. And I think, if I'm looking around, that was the last thing that I had to talk about. And I don't think I have any crazy life updates. Other than Christmas, there's not much going on around here, which is always good, honestly. I think that the more simple days, the better. So I hope that you are all having wonderful crafty days yourselves, that you had a crafty Christmas, and that you all had a happy new year. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for sticking with me. I hope you have a wonderful day ahead, and I will see you next time.